Good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time you are in. DM Geezer Jim here, buddy over there. Ben, we're here back for
Hello.
another round of Jim and Josh talk D&D.
Heck
Last,
yeah.
yeah, last time we're finishing up our kind of holistic version of what to do, what to look for, what to think about, what is D&D to a new player, what to look at when you're getting into a new game, both as a player and as a DM. Not so much specifics, but more kind of a strategic slash overall overview.
Constructs. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had, towards the end of it, started going off ranting because they had just released the oneD&D, 5.5 D&D, whatever they're calling it, next D&D. They had released some errata like the day we were doing that, so we went on a nut spree. But yeah, so I wanted to take, a few days, a week, 10, 12 days, look at the stuff, tear it apart, and then actually try to be somewhat objective about it instead of, grr, arg, why'd you do that to us? Anything you want to add, Josh?
No. It's
No.
actually my fault. It's not his fault that we took so much time. It's my fault because I got sucked into Star Wars Survivor or Jedi Survivor.
Oh, that's all good. No worries, man. No worries.
So it's definitely on me.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The more time you had is, a little less
Yeah.
emotional, a little more clinical. And I
I'm
mean,
not as angry about
well,
it.
there's still some bad. So I mean, before
Oh, I'm
we,
not saying there's not bad.
there's
I'm
a
just
lot
saying
of bad.
I'm not as livid as I was that day.
So before I mean, let's go ahead. We actually had a little bit of a thought exercise before we started the stream, just to make sure we were kind of in the same headspace, as it were. But I want to take, if you don't mind, Josh, let's take them back through what we did, just kind of that way when we start getting to expressing our opinions a little bit later, it's not all just off the cuff emotional blah blah blah. It's not, oh, they're just being pissy. This is how we're coming to the decisions as you compare the new stuff to the old stuff, the current 5th edition rule wording and reading of a class versus the proposed next D&D 5.5 stuff. So we're going to use a paladin. Go ahead, Josh. What you had brought up a little bit ago. Let's walk straight through it, man. Because I mean, it's
So basically, like I was bringing up the fact that martial classes are kind of getting screwed in the new oneD&D, where like every spellcaster minus warlocks are getting like major buffs, and I was getting mad at because paladins now they can only smite once per turn. Um, so we were kind of going through this and looking at it, and um, it, I guess we had come to the conclusion that the reason that they're doing this in oneD&D is because they're adding cantrips to paladins now, which they don't have. So they're making it so you can either cast a spell and a cantrip, or you can attack and smite that turn. Basically, is kind of how they're trying to balance it out, I guess.
Now let's take a step back. If you don't play a paladin, if you don't play one regular, if you don't play one at a higher level, it's like, well, you get to smite to begin with. What's the big deal? The wording of the rule right now is starting at 2nd level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend 1 spell slot to deal radiant damage to the target in addition to the weapon's damage. Okay, so if you're a 3 attack paladin, you could potentially smite 3 times in the same round of combat by the wording of that,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
So the big thing that jumps out, if you're a paladin, knowing that as a paladin player, and you go look at the new errata, it immediately reduces. You're immediately going, what the hell? Because it says you can only do it once per turn, right?
Yeah, you can use divine smite no more than once during a turn, and you can't use it on the same turn you cast spell.
Okay, so yeah, initially right off the bat, every paladin when you get into the multi-strike levels, you're like, that's 2, 3, 4 smites. I'm gonna own a demon, and I'm really concerned when his paladin goes up against anything that's an Avernus,
Oh yeah.
Did I mention smite, free spell, and smite, and of course he'll be out of spell slots pretty quick, but I'm okay with that. He's okay with that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
digress.
That's
So
smart about it.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah,
I only
absolutely.
used two so I could get them back. Don't worry.
Amen, brother. Amen. But that whole option of being able to do that goes away according to the 5/5 rules, because he can only do it once per turn and not after casting another spell. So then that takes us back, and it's like, well, how often is a paladin casting a spell and fighting in the same turn? There's some pretty decent bonus action spells that a paladin can use. to true strike type stuff. I mean, you play, you know what I'm saying. We'll pull up a
Okay.
couple real quick.
Hold on. I actually have Damien pulled up right now.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a whole lot of bonus action stuff. Oh well, I mean, like for instance, like I can Misty Step as a bonus action with my paladin.
Shield
So
of
if I wanted
Faith
to,
is a bonus
I,
action.
I can yeah, Shield of Faith, yeah. Like but yeah, with Misty Step, I could pop into somebody real quick and immediately smite them if I wanted to. But now as a 5.5, that's not a thing you can do anymore
Yeah.
because you can't cast a spell and then attack.
Yeah.
I mean, or at least smite. I mean,
Well, that again, the Misty Step is if it was a racial reaction bonus action ability, yeah, because otherwise you'd have to use your action for the attack economy. So there are the devil is in the details on stuff. So you know, when you start looking, and that's what I guess we're trying to explain is when you first read the thing, make sure you understand what it's based on to begin with. Make sure you understand what's changing. So every step of this looks like it sucks. You know, up to this point, it still sucks. The more you read it, the worse it gets. You know, one thing that changes on the 5.5 was my initial argument. Well, there's no limit on the damage anymore. The regular 5th edition Paladin's smite is limited at 5d8, I believe, or 6d8 if you hit a fiend. There is a
yeah.
damage cap on the smite that has been removed for 5.5. So if it's doubling against a fiend, but here it doesn't say it doubles against a fiend or an undead anymore either. So you're losing that aspect of smite.
Well, yeah. In addition, like for the current smite, you get 5. You can only do 5d8 at a max. In the new one, you can only do 6 at max. So you're only
Yeah.
getting 1 extra die
Yeah,
anyway. Like it's
exactly.
not really that big of a difference, especially at higher levels. It's not going to be that big of a
You're
difference.
not going to use a 4th level spell slot on a smite, and you need that for
No,
something for reals.
no, 100%. Yeah, especially when you only have 2 at 20th level, like
Yeah, exactly. But
or 5th level spell.
yeah,
2,
so
3.
you know, now the one thing is we're looking through this, going, "What the hell would they hell? Why would they do that?" So I started reading into the wording on it, and the thing that caught my eye is you can use Divine Smite no more than once during a turn, and you can't use it on the same turn that you would cast a spell. So my initial thinking is, well, I mean, you're using a bonus action for spell, but then we looked through it and we're doing spell slot counts, and for the first time, I realized that paladins are getting cantrips.
Yeah.
You know, so is that a balancing thing on wizards' part to allay for some of the possible cantrips combinations with attack combinations that a paladin's going to be able to use? It could string in too far to be able to add a smite on top of that. You know, so that's some of the stuff when you read it and then reread it and read it in comparison to its current. Um, I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say it makes sense, but you can start seeing where there's little balancing points that they've added. We're taking this away because we're adding that. How useful are cantrips to a martial class? I'm saying useless, but you know,
Yeah.
cantrip still
Yeah.
uses an action, and as a level 9 paladin, that's 2 attacks. Do I want to do a
Yeah.
little guidance touch for my boy and say I'm done, or do I want to crank? So you know, then in and of itself, is that a useful addition? You know?
That's also a good point. I mean, I guess at worst case scenario, it gives you something ranged that you could hit something with, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it worth the trade off though?
Well,
I'm a paladin. I'm a tanky as fuck. I'd rather just run in, you know, and I guess you could cast something that had range with a cantrip and then get in further. But I mean, I'd rather just dash and get up in there for my turn.
well, just looking at what's available right now, guidance, which is like a mini inspiration. You're not gonna use an action as a paladin to give your boy a D4 on a roll. I mean, that's kind of silly. Light. Uh, how many people use
Yeah.
blind characters these days anyway? Let's be honest. You know.
I mean, and basically everything except for humans has dark vision now. So
Exactly. That's exactly my point. You got like 5 species in the game right now, and honestly, you'll be able to say come
Dragonborn are
5.5.
getting, yeah,
Oh,
Dragonborn are getting dark vision. I think so. Are I think halflings don't have it
oh, dude,
currently.
no. I'm a half dragonborn, half dark elf that presents as a dragonborn, and I inherited my dark elf parents' dark vision. It's legal in 5, dude.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
so so no one's gonna be blind ever again. So the cantrip light, continual light, all of that crap, that's wasted spell slots. If we're being completely honest, unless you're very setting pure. obviously DMs and place tables have the room to adjust whatever they want. But I mean, as written, there's a lot of stuff that's not even going to be needed for the game anymore. It's just wasting a slot.
Bear the Dying, maybe I could see using. Sacred Flame is okay.
That's the AoE one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still wouldn't see that
That
being useful over, a feeded out uh, martial weapon application property having. I mean, you using a halberd
like
with.
out of combat uses for some of these
Yeah.
things, but that's really about it.
And I guess that's what I was kind of referring to as far as if your dungeon master is investing, if the group is investing in gameplay mechanics in non-combat situations, then there's some cool stuff that a paladin can do that they can't do right now. But
And
losing
I guess
the ability to
Sacred
chain
Flame
smite,
mostly.
I don't know.
That's true. If you had enemies that are really far away, I guess Sacred Flame could come in handy at a higher level. Like, oh, I'm, an 11th level paladin. I can hit an enemy that's 60 feet away for 3d8, which
But
is, I
so
mean,
okay, so we're sitting here, two of us that are pretty freaking
also I can just
experienced.
dash in.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty two of us that are pretty freaking experienced. Spending a lot of gray matter energy trying to figure out how the changes are beneficial, and the best we can come up with are situational or
Yeah.
completely driven by the table. Not even so much things that are mechanical. If your play group doesn't do these things, then if your play group doesn't actually do these things, then these cantrips,
Pointless.
these spells, these things are pointless. They're wasted slots or wasted everything's.
Yeah.
So that is one thing to keep in mind. You all right, bud?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, man. Mad.
Eh.
That's okay. He's 17-year-old.
I appreciate that the spell lists are unified now, where it's like you can pick from the divine spell list as a cleric, as a paladin, or was it primal for like druids and
Rangers and druids get primal.
yeah,
I,
barbarians?
yeah, I guess what if they get spells? I guess some barbarians will get spells now. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is something cool. That they're. I think that was kind of a fourth edition thing more than any
Yeah,
other
they
edition. You
yeah.
know, one of the good things that they did. There's just three classes of magic. However, your character is defined derives from where they're mad. I think there's still going to be there's still going to be
Crossovers.
well, not so much crossovers, but disciplines. There's still going to be divination, abjuration, conjuration, all of that. But I don't think that it's going to apply as much. So where do bards fall in? I wonder. Are they going to be arcane?
I I don't remember. I know that they said, but I can't remember what it was that they are.
Well, because right now, yeah, what we're referring to is we did a bad job of it. Right, currently spells are spells. If you're a
They count
cleric,
as expert class, I think is what they count
yeah,
as.
expert class. If you're a cleric and a druid, if you're a cleric and a pally, you get the same spell list. You get access to the same spell list. If you're a druid and a ranger, you get access to the same spell list for the most part. The ranger's got a couple special just ranger ones. Paladin gets a couple exclusive paladin ones. Each class got a couple exclusive, but for the most part, you share a grouping. They're just kind of codifying it for 5.5 and taking it and calling divination school, divine magic, excuse me, primal magic, which will be your elemental stuff, your druids, your outdoorsy stuff, and then your
Yeah.
arcane is all of your wizardy hoo ha ha da 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 da. And I think warlocks have the potential to fall into either. I still say they're divine, but that's just my argument for later.
I would personally agree as well. Bards says that they can potentially fall into all three of them, thanks to magical secrets.
Okay, that'll
But
be
I do
interesting.
believe that they standardly would do from the primal list.
Primal, that's cheesy,
Yeah.
man. Primal
Three
sucks.
spell, yes, it's three spell lists. The arcane, divine, and primal list are featured here. Let's see, the ranger uses the primal list, and the bard potentially uses all three. So yeah,
Okay. 'Cause, I mean, that's
based on
that's
what
kind of one of the
bards
fun
you
things
are.
about a bard right now is you get a wide variety of spells to play with, man. Not enough
Yeah, I mean,
slots.
bards are currently like that so there's not like
Yeah.
really some of the stuff that they get for bards is cool. I will say that, but but again, like it's like a lot of the stuff for casting is getting buffed. It's not so much anything martial.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, which kind of leads us into our next thing. Just so you understand, when we're actually sitting down saying this sucks because of this, this sucks because of that, or this is cool because we're taking the time and not just.
We're
And
gonna
I
do
I
it.
recommend everybody take the time, read it, reread it, let it digest, let the emotional part go over. And at the end of the day, if you've done the reading and you've looked at it and it still sucks, then it still sucks, and it's okay, And you can say something sucks, and I can say something's cool, and that doesn't mean anything other than your opinion is valid, my opinion is valid, and whatever gets applied to your table and my table is what happens. So, with all of that being said, let's get into some of uh, the more interesting aspects. Let's start with cool, so this isn't all just grumpy and negative.
Um,
Um, Go ahead.
I mean, I already brought up the spell list thing. I like that a lot. I like that Rangers are going to finally be useful. Like Rangers are getting massively buffed in the new one. They are actually useful finally because like the main issue with Rangers currently in 5e is that like anything they can do, there's another class that can do it better. You know, um, like they might be able to do. They're kind of like bards where they can do a little bit of a bunch of stuff, but like any other class like a rogue can sneak better than a ranger currently. But like now rangers are getting a bunch of stuff where they can like turn invisible, be completely undetectable by things. Like they can like I think you can actually change your area now. Hold on, let me look.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up. Now, let
Rangers because
me yeah, and I kind of you and I have chatted about this before. A lot of, and I've had this chat with several people because back in 1E 2E, Rangers were powerful and viable parts of your team, but you had a lot more of a variety in your actual campaigns and adventures, and they were suited to specific classes. I mean, certain adventures said, you know, make sure you have a ranger so they can navigate the Yantel Mountains to find what they need to find. Otherwise, add X amount of time to their timeline as they get lost. Things like that. Now, so if you're not doing a whole lot of overland travel and not a lot of survival, exploration, wilderness stuff right now, a ranger is dead in the water. They really
yeah,
are. Most of their build is about surviving and traveling and exploring. If you don't play that game, even in the future, yeah, you'll
yeah.
have a little bit more. I mean, you'll be a little more combat relevant, but you're still really not going to shine, man. That's campaign driven more than than class driven, in my opinion. In my opinion.
I mean, like okay, so like for instance, like by seventh level, you're getting extras 10 feet of speed just for being a ranger now. Okay, so like currently, favorite enemy is like you typically have something like beast are
Giants.
my favorite enemy or something like that, and you do more damage to them. Now, favorite enemy, the way that it works is you just get Hunter's Mark, like automatically. It doesn't count against your spells. You can cast it as a bonus action, and you don't have to concentrate on it. So you just get Hunter's Mark as a thing that's a non-concentration spell for you as a ranger, which is super awesome. Like
Yeah.
that's a really good ability, and it lasts the entire duration of the spell. I think it like by fifth level, like it lasts 8 hours. Like so you can just
Yeah.
have like like Hunter's Mark up for a full day of adventuring without having to concentrate on it and still be able to do other things.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so there are certain things that are super cool that you're
so
getting,
so
but
if
like
you if you're not
yeah.
if you're a non-ranger, correct me if I'm wrong. Hunter's Mark is basically a tracking slash additional damage type of a spell. As long as Hunter's Mark is on the target, you are able to know where they are within what same plane of existence, or is it
Yeah,
ranged?
you can find them easier. Like you had the advantage on finding them and stuff like that.
And then when you hit them, you
Um,
deal additional damage, correct?
yes, you get 1d6 extra damage starting off. Yeah,
And it builds up over the level of the spell,
yeah,
I
of the
believe.
levels. Yeah,
So I mean, it's a free non, and so it is a big deal, aid in
yeah.
tracking a target. But again, it's kind
For a
of
full day of adventuring, you have as a bonus action, you can do an extra 1d6 to any enemy that you attack, and you can move it to another enemy for a bonus action. So you
yeah,
can literally be like, okay, bonus action, I put it on this enemy. Through the course of this fight, I've killed it with my normal attacks and other bonus actions. Now, as a bonus action after this turn, I'm moving it to this guy. And at any other point during the day, unless you are incapacitated, or you choose to end it, you have Hunter's Mark,
yeah.
basically, like, which is awesome.
Now the existence of that removes a role play and gameplay mechanic from the Rangers' arsenal. Survival, hunting, going out, We're on the edges of being out of food, trapped in this copse of pine trees. We know there's a deer. Well, I'll just cast Hunter's Mark and find. Okay, so
But I
so
mean,
so that's a balancing act that you have as a DM as a player. They're kind of like what I have been kind of caught ranting about before. It's like you get your group together and you guys are like, all right, man, we're gonna play Out of the Abyss. Like, cool, I'm gonna make a Warforged so I don't have to eat or drink. Okay, well I'm gonna make a Dark Elf so I can see in the dark. Okay, well I'm gonna make a Changeling so I can do this. Okay, well I'm gonna do a Duergar so I can do that. Okay, so you guys basically ended the module with your character creation. Yay! And it's not quite that simple. That's oversimplification on both sides, but when you create a character as part of your build or as part of your spell selections, it completely alleviates the challenge of your adventure. That can be a problem. So the more tools that you give to a player, you don't want to know, all of a sudden as a DM, how are you going to run an outdoor adventure when all they got to do is say, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Okay, cool, that's done. So shit, I guess we're not going to explore Tundra for 2 hours tonight because you got 2 die rolls and a spell. Yay!
So I mean, even past that, like Rangers also like tireless is the thing that they get now.
Yeah.
Um,
No exhaustion, which is that
so
fits in the theme of them. They're supposed to be
yeah,
able to
which
help.
I agree with. I
Yeah,
agree with. But still, that's what I'm saying. So there are certain things they can do, and they can even later on reduce exhaustion
for the
for other
group.
party members. Yeah, which is awesome.
I
So like,
mean,
hey, now you can travel faster, and a lot of DMs don't even really do travel time. But I mean, like,
very few do.
still,
But yeah,
yeah,
you okay, dude? Hot. But yeah, the option to be able to enhance those sequences in RP, enhance those facets of the. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is supposed to be three things: exploration, roleplay, combat.
yeah.
I'd be willing to bet the vast majority of people leave exploration off the table, or they consider exploration going through the dungeon as exploration. Hey, we're following the tunnel from the last door to the next door. We're exploring. you know.
Nah, I mean, sometimes you have to get lost on a trail somewhere,
Absolutely, absolutely.
take a wrong turn.
Yeah.
It happens.
But that's up to the table and up to the play group,
Yeah,
to enhance the factors of the game that you want, man. If you want traveling to be there and you want the Rangers and the Druids to really have a place to shine, you know, that's up to me as a DM, Josh as a DM, whoever, to make sure that the campaign supports that. As a player, it's responsible if you want that challenge to be there, don't mitigate it by metagaming and taking a race and 2 feats that completely mitigate it. You know? But anyway, back onto this. Rangers are getting a buff both for combat and for combat and exploration / roleplay situations. I think that's
yeah.
improving.
Also,
Barbarians are getting a
just a
little bit.
broken thing real quick.
I'm sorry.
Just one more
Go
broken
ahead.
just one thing that I think
Please,
is
please, please.
slightly broken for them is as a bonus action, they can turn invisible for an entire turn. Does not stop if they attack somebody, does not stop if they take damage, does not stop if they nothing. They are just invisible for an entire turn as a bonus action. That's a later thing that they get. But I think that is stupid broken.
Yeah,
We move
absolutely.
around a battlefield real quick and just hit
Shank 'em,
somebody,
brother.
and then and then move completely somewhere else, and
Right.
they'll have no idea where I am. Yeah,
Yeah, no kidding.
which I mean also kind of fits in with the ranger theme. So that's what I'm saying. So there are some good things. Like a lot of the classes are getting good things. Like okay, so look, I don't play a lot of martial classes myself personally. I prefer spellcaster, so I'm getting a lot of good stuff personally. But like it's everybody else that I feel bad for. Like the people who want to play, like like they're getting rid of sneak attack, like for rogues,
Hmm.
and that sucks for them. Like that's one of the main things that rogues have right now, and that helps them do a crap ton of damage. I mean, to be fair, rogues do a crap ton of damage, but I mean that's why you play a rogue though, because you want to be an assassin. I want to sneak up behind somebody, stab them, and kill
Yeah.
them real quick. You know?
Okay. No, I'm with you to an extent on that. I tend to, although actually the only campaign I've been playing in recently, I'm a caster. I went from being a bard to a cleric. I gravitate towards martial classes when I used to play a little bit more. I mean, basically, I'm a forever DM now. So, you know, when you DM all the time, sometimes it's just you just want to sit back and just I hit the full and enjoy the company, enjoy the friends, and have fun with that, and just play something simple. Because normally I'm playing 9 guys per combat turn against their 4, so it's
Yeah.
nice to relax with that. So, they're going from being a one button class to continuing being a one button class, but you get to add one or two little things to the tail end of it. Your for example, for a fighter, your resource use, your second wind is a little bit stronger. You can use it a little bit more often than you could right now. You actually get some innate freaking regeneration later on in life as a fighter. It's where was that? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the playtest 5 for fighter here. Yeah, that a regular ass fighter got buffed up significantly as well.
Didn't even look at him because
Oh, really?
yeah, because I don't like I said I don't really play like this
Well,
kind of.
your second wind, as a bonus action, you regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter resolve. You can use the feature twice, and you regain. So it's a bonus action. You can heal yourself and still smack.
That's nice.
And then you regain all of your expended uses when you finish a long rest. When you reach certain levels, you gain more use of this feature. So as you gain more levels, you gain more uses of it. And where was the other one that I was looking for that gave you some sort of unconquerable? If you fail a savings throw and your indomitable feature is expended, you can use it again by expending your second wind. So you can make yourself basically a legendary save is given to fighters now. Where is the other one I was looking for? Weapon Adept. Might have been a feat that I was looking for. But yeah, Survivor for the champion build. At the start of each of your turns, you gain hit points equal to 5 plus your Constitution modifier if you have no more than half your hit points left. So as a 14th level Survivor champion sub build, you're regenerating. At 14th level, your Constitution is probably 20.
Gain like 10 hit points.
11 hit points around at the start of every turn innate. So you got troll regen at level 14 as in one fighter subclass, plus all of your increased second wind. Man, you're getting some serious sustainability going. And then you add all of the stuff with the weapons, the what's it called? Perks.
The weapon mastery.
Yeah, that's something that. Go ahead, dude.
That's one of the things that I'm negative about are the weapon mastery thing. While I think they are cool, don't get me wrong, I think they're super cool. I feel like that's for the players more than it is for the DMs. It's gonna be a pain in the ass for DMs for somebody to be able to hit an enemy and be like, okay, now they're prone. And that's just a thing that I can do when I attack now.
So what we're referring to is and if you've played 3rd edition, actually a little bit of 2nd edition had some of these feats as well. I say feats. They're called weapon mastery. Each weapon in 5.5 will be every freaking one of them is being assigned a mastery thing, a little extra something. It's called slow, nick, push, vex, sap, flex, topple. The one that Josh is talking about is called topple. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can force a creature to make a Constitution saving throw with a DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency plus the ability 8 plus whatever you use to hit them with. So if you have a plus 8 to hit, their DC is 16. If they fail their DC, they are knocked prone. Now the term is if you hit a creature with this weapon. So let's apply that topple effect right now to a panic situation. You've got a brother who's running around with a polearm, with halberd, with polearm mastery and sentinel. Okay, so he's getting we'll say he's 8th level. He's getting 2 attacks with this polearm. Then he's getting a bonus attack with the butt end of that polearm. And then as his reaction, anything that moves within 10 feet of him gets another attack. According to that wording, if he was to hit all 4 of those opponents, all 4 of those are prone.
Yep.
That's a little bit freaking OP in my opinion.
I completely agree. Graze is the one that really gets me, like where it's like you can miss an enemy and still do damage to them.
That's that same scenario. Our guy is using a glaive instead of a halberd, or it says something with topple. A lance, we'll say. I think the lance or what was the one that had trip on it that we were just reading on? Doesn't matter. Trident had topple.
Yeah.
So you go from a trident using topple, you go over to the glaive using graze in the same situation with the same 4 targets with the same feat, same setup, different weapon. He didn't knock him down. He missed all 4 of his attacks, but he still did damage to all 4 of those. And if you have any on damage effects and not on hit effects, those are going to kick in on all of those as well.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to have to pay a lot of attention as a DM. Is it an on hit? Is it an on damage? Or is it an on attack? Because you're going to be able to stack up all kinds of crazy crap as a fighter, as a I'm gonna use fighter because they get a lot of weapon masteries and they get to change them when they want.
Oh, how about flex? By the way, you can swing a two-handed weapon with one hand. I mean, versatile weapon. Let me say that first. Versatile weapon. You can swing it with one hand and do the double-handed damage with it still.
Hmm.
So my 1d8 just became 1d12 now instead.
Yeah.
you know.
Sap. If you hit a creature with this weapon, then that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. So I mean, this is some cool stuff that you're giving to all of everyone. I mean, it's not just limited to martial classes. If you're a wizard who
I
hits
guess
someone with a
anything, yeah.
club, you get to sap them,
Yeah.
and they have a disadvantage when they attack you. So I mean, that's a cool feature to add for players. But how many more spells are you now negating? How many class abilities are you negating because they're now carried on your weapons? Do you really want to do this and that? It's going to affect how. I think it's going to be a negative exponential effect to the extent that a DM's not going to be able to prepare for or balance any of this crap when it starts adding up. It's almost
Like,
it's. Go ahead.
it's already impossible right now to go based off of like CR ratings, like how to build an encounter, and it's like hard to balance one right now as it is against like our Avernus team, for instance, where we're level what 7, 8, something like that
7.
currently. I don't remember.
7.
Yeah, and we're doing. I did almost 50 damage in one turn. You know, like we're hitting
The math
crazy numbers.
that I ran on your last one, you guys were averaging 19 times 5, 50, 95 points, including your misses. I did all the math
Yeah,
after it was all done because I mean, call me a geek, call me an idiot, call me what you want. I will save my damage logs, go back through them, see what my players are doing. Am I challenging them enough? Am I challenging too much? It's important to do that because Josh is right, man. Combat rating, my opinion differs on it. It does suck, but if you're still using it after your second adventure, that's on you. Combat rating.
I
Go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah.
please.
No, I was gonna say there are times where I go and I look at stuff and I kind of base it off of combat rating in a little bit where I'm like, is this gonna be difficult or not? Because like if I see something that's like a combat rating like 15, I'm not gonna put it against a group of level 4s, things like that. Like
Well,
sometimes it's useful, but like,
I mean,
also a team of four that's smart could do it though.
well, the way I look at combat rating, the way I've always described it is combat rating is a mathematical system set up by wizards, set up by for 5e for the lowest common denominator. If your players know how to just do the one thing on their sheet that they're supposed to be good at, whether that's casting firebolt, whether that's using their basic attack, whether that's casting magic missile, and all four of them do that, and that's all they can do, they should be able to handle this kind of encounter, 1/4 CR, very easily. This will be a moderate challenge. It does not account for, and it cannot. There's not a mathematical system in existence that can account for tactics, that can account for coordination, that can account for creativity. This is the baseline. This is the bare minimum for understanding how to run a combat encounter. And if no one can do anything but attack, they should survive these parameters at this level. But once you get talent as players, once you get talent as a DM, it's just a guideline. It's just a guideline. You know?
Yeah.
All it is a way to look. Okay, who am I playing with tonight? Okay, they got 42 total levels. They average 64 damage. I need to start at CR5. You know?
Yeah. Fair.
But I mean, but an example is the same thing. Is sometimes you ignore the math for the fun. Oh, go ahead,
That's true
dude.
too. I was gonna say sometimes we also roll real bad, so
Well, we're getting a little off track here, and then we'll get back into the 5/5
yeah.
rant. But like the Vargawills that I threw at you guys. What's a Vargawill? It's a 1 CR flying head. It's a head that's got wings for bats. It's got no attack. It's got like a +2 to attack. If it bites you, it's going to do 3 damage. Really no threat at all. Armor class of 14, 11 to 15 hit points. Nothing. Except for when they do their crazy ass screech, and they're scary monsters because when the players learn their ability, it's like, oh my god, I don't want my head to rip off of my body, and they go into a panic, and these things are about as difficult to kill as sturges. But just
Yeah.
but the simple effect of what they can do switches the entire dynamic, man. I had a group of level 7s that can average 90 damage a round in a panic over 4 CR1 things that come flying at them. Just because of their abilities, man. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, a lot of it is playing smart. But yeah, okay. In the same vein, going back to the 5.5 stuff, is that this is going to make it harder for DMs,
Mhm.
like in general. Like a lot of these abilities, especially with the nerfs that monsters are getting from stuff,
Yeah.
where like unless okay, so to be fair, they haven't released a DM's guide yet, so or monster manual yet. So some of this stuff could be changed. To be fair, some of this could be changed. They've changed stuff in the test book that they put out now. They've
Yeah.
changed stuff already, but monsters can't crit. Already you're taking away certain abilities that monsters have, like entirely. Like they're getting major nerfs, and players are getting nothing but like power fantasy stuff.
Well, I mean, let's okay, because what's D&D competing with right now? Either Pathfinder and Kobold Press and all of these guys that are coming out with more complex systems, doubling down in the math, doubling down in the numbers. Pathfinder 2 is it's a neat system, but it's numbers heavy, it's math heavy. It's freaking 3.5, 3.5.
Yeah,
So players are going to that. D&D's not going to try to do that because all that is doing is chasing away the casual player. So they're doubling down on the casual side. Um, you know, yes, they're absolutely playing into the hero fantasy. Everything on TV, all of the media, everyone right now, it's all hero stuff. If I'm going to play a fantasy role playing game, I want to be the hero. No one's playing to be this. That's why we do it. I mean, that's not bullshit. That's when you first get into D&D, that's why you want to do it. And
Eh,
the
but I mean,
pro.
I've also had a lot more fun doing stuff like playing House and Waterdeep, though.
Yeah,
like,
but
and
now
that's not
let's.
yeah, we're not doing, yeah,
And I'm actually. It sounds weird, but I'm almost like the voice of reason on this one. But playing House and Waterdeep is going to happen agnostic of your system if you have a good group and you have a good
that's fair.
setting.
That's
Most of
completely
what
fair.
we're doing, let's be honest, most of what we're playing would work in any system that we all knew.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So
It's role playing. It's not to do with the system itself. It's
yeah.
just the
But
setting. Yeah,
but that goes
it's fair enough.
that goes all the
Yeah,
way back to what we were first talking about when we were talking about new players. You know, it's the collaborative building that you're doing that's important. The system that you agree to use is the framework that you adhere to. So, the subconscious thing for me is the panic that the system that we are adhering to build these awesome, cool stories together is about to get broken as some people go to the new system and some of us stay in the old system. That's the fear to me is we have an agreed upon framework that the majority of D&D people enjoy that Wizards is now going to break apart for monetary reasons, just simply for monetization. And their business, it's their right, I understand, but that's my fear.
I just had the epiphany of a lifetime, which is just the dumbest thing right now. Which is that I'm sure that this has been a complaint that has happened every time they put out a new edition. Every time they're breaking it. They're breaking the game. but but I mean,
Now, I didn't say
5.5.
breaking the game. I said breaking the
Yeah.
player pool.
I mean, yeah, fair, and that's fair because yes, fifth edition is the most popular edition that they've ever had. Like more people play fifth edition than I think have ever played D&D ever, I believe.
Absolutely.
But and that's the thing is that this might bring in some people, but I think you're going to lose a lot of people with it as well, just because of certain things like.
Now, but here, okay, guy, go ahead, please, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like as a player, I like a lot of the stuff that I see. I do. I like a lot of it. It's very tempting to play this, but like I can also see it from the other side for the DMs and just see how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to run in the system.
Well,
I mean,
now
people are going to figure it out, though. People are going to play in it. People are
I'm
going to use it.
I'm gonna go conspiracy brother on your first point here in a little bit, but the last point is yeah, people are going to use it, and we aren't losing anything. When 5.5 or next D&D or oneD&D comes out, we don't lose anything. If you're
Yeah.
a 5e player, you know what? There's a brother that might have stumbled across this stream and says, I'm a 1e, I still play Beckme. Right on, brother, because you haven't lost anything, you
Yeah.
know? other than the exposure to new players, which how often are we really trolling for new players? We can barely there's not enough of DMs on our server to support what we got, you know? So I mean
I know. Even- Yeah, I really was
that's going
excited
to lead.
about running like once a month games though. Like I was really excited about doing
Well,
that,
so
but
do
it
it.
is it is what it
So
is. It
do
is
it.
what it is.
Let's do it.
It's hard.
There's still a
I
few
mean, that's
people.
fair.
There's still 7 or 8 people interested in it, and maybe if once we get it going, a couple of the other ones will actually go, "Oh, they're doing it. Let's jump in." Sorry, we're talking server crap
Yeah,
here,
I was gonna
Discord stuff.
say. Yeah, yeah.
But so the new system coming up, the changes that are coming up, they are going to push people away. They are going to split the community, and whichever side of it you end up landing on a micro scale, we have to be honest, it's not going to really affect you.
Yeah.
If I say, hey guys, I'm sticking with 5th edition, if you're going to go play one, get out of my server, number one, I'm not going to do that. That's just a dick move.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're sticking with 5 on the next campaign. I might adapt some stuff from 5.5 that sounds cool, and most of my players are gonna be cool. No one's gonna expect me to stop Waterdeep mid campaign at the release of oneD&D and say,
Reroll
okay, we
characters.
have to all learn it. We have to transfer all of our characters to the new rule set, and learn how to play. No, man, no, and that's where I wonder if anyone at Wizards or has at Hasbro has told them, y'all know that the vast majority of people aren't going to touch this system for a year to 3 years as they finish up their current shit, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I'm
But
also very interested in what content is going to be there. Like when it first comes out, like what kind of modules or anything they're going to have that's going to go along with it.
Vecna, 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 Vecna.
I mean, you're not even wrong, though. um,
Oh, dude, I tried to run a my module review earlier. It ended up turning into a Twitch stream chat. I have to redo it without actually streaming because I mean we went way off topic. It was fun. I had some good chats, but yeah, I got to take another crack at that later. But I think no, this is me going into conspiracy, brother. And please, Josh, jump in and shut me up if I start going way down the rabbit hole or say, hey, I think that's bullshit. Um, I think that it's recognized through all of market research, through social media monitoring, through every measure that you have, that there is a dearth of dungeon masters out there. If you do any Facebook searching, any sort of browsing on forums, any sort of YouTube, there's probably for every 5 people that are in a group, there's probably another 10 that can't find a DM, can't find a group. So I think at the end of the day, that comes down because there's not enough DMs. It's not as hard as people think it is, but it is challenging. It's something that you have to kind of commit to, or at least have people in your group willing to commit to rotating. It's an extra layer of work to a game. As much as we talked about it was fun, it's cool, you're world building, you get to play D&D solo, it's still time that you have to do. And most people, are challenged to show up for a session, much less having the time to prep the session, set up the session, run the session, account for everything, and have that fucking sword hanging over the back of your head. Oh my God, is everyone having fun? Is everyone having fun? Am I doing a good job? Is everyone having fun? Even as a forever DM, man, I still stress about that shit. So there's stuff that goes through it. Why did that pop up? No.
So are you going to tell me that you think that they're doing this so that more DMs come out
No, I
to
think
run
they're
it?
doing this to make it a faster combat system. So the virtual tabletop that Hasbro is releasing through Unreal 5 engine and their AI DM are going to handle the majority of the heavy lifting. That's going to provide the scenarios, the situations, and the solution for all of these homeless players out there that just want to drop into a game, roll some dice, kill some monsters, and log off after 2 hours. That's why I think that's what this is all leading up to. The way this is going, there's not going to be a combat that goes more than 3 or 4 rounds. There's not going to be a combat that goes more than an hour. And everything else is going to be choose your own, click your own fucking adventure dialogue trees that an AI can put together and run for you. I think this is going to take virtual tabletops and remove people like me from them entirely. I think the casual people out there, the 60% of people that want to play that can't play, are going to love it because they don't know the difference. They haven't got to play yet. That's me being conspiracy brother.
I'm gonna be honest, and this is just me. I've played some of those games that are like that. That are like, oh, this is just like D&D, but like an AI is the DM for you. I hate all of them. I hate all
But
of them.
you've got to come play other stuff. You run games, you know how it
That's
can be
fair.
played, and I guess that's what I'm addressing is Hasbro sees this whole plethora of players out there that haven't had a chance to play yet because they can't find a group, they can't find a player, they can't do whatever. Some
So this is like the video game edition of D&D, basically.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind, if you're in my play group, I'm honestly, I'm not calling you out. I'm saying that this is market proven as typical. How many books does everyone buy versus how many books, i.e., the whole library, that I'm sharing with 20 plus people in the server?
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure every single one of you has bought a couple books for yourselves. That's a cool title, whatever, and everyone should buy their own fucking player handbook for when you leave my server, you can still play D&D, damn it. Point being,
Yeah.
and this is something that goes back all the way back to the OG days. Your DM wasn't necessarily the best player in your group. It's whoever's, in 83, it's whoever's mom and dad bought them the most shit for Christmas. Let's be
Yeah.
honest,
But
guys.
I think that I think that you then either me or Andrew has the most books out of all of us.
Yeah, so, and that's not a
I
bad
have
thing.
maybe half of the actual total library though.
And I mean, I've
Like
got another,
maybe half.
yeah, and I've got another, what, 15, 18 gigs of old PDFs that I fling around like freaking, here's my business card. Have a PDF, the ones that I bought that I like sharing because I think it's built into my DNA from how we used to play.
Yeah.
Hey man, are you done with Unearthed Arcana yet? No, I'm almost done. No, you're reading it, dude. You're supposed to use it to build your Cavalier and let me have it. Oh, come on, man. I'll give it back to you after the session on the weekend. That's how the shit was back in the day, pre
Yeah.
internet, pre D&D Beyond. You're passing books
Um,
back and forth, man.
I
So
have I have a few like AD&D books and they are torn to shreds because of that.
to
Like
use.
the spines are broken, like all the pages are just wrinkled from like being flipped through constantly. Yeah.
Dog-eared like a
Yeah.
bitch, man. Half
Uh-huh.
folds, yeah, half folds on the
Yeah.
chapters. Any tables that you needed, you're on it anyway, so it didn't matter. So you folded that page in half. You could just flip to it quick, man. We
Yep.
we destroyed what would be thousands upon thousands of dollars of books now just through playing back in the day. But I digress. I kind of went into an old man rant there. My point is that D&D Hasbro is making more money off of their toys, off of their little cool stuff that everyone can buy and have fun and put on their shelf than they are off of their books. Because people like us, yeah, he got more books, toys than books on his shit, right? And me, I mean, I'm digital. I'm 100% digital, baby. You know.
There I have a bunch of manga
you
comics behind me.
know, I've got history books on the other shelf. But point being, this is an opportunity for Hasbro to monetize. It's going to be a pay to win type of. I don't want to say pay to win, but I don't even want to say pay to play. Yeah, pay to play, like Magic. Here, you can
It's
get
gonna
into
be paid
Magic the
for.
Arena for free, and you can do all this crap. But if you want the 99 cents, you can get the emote that makes your warrior raise the sword in the air. It's going to be shit like that, dude. Microtransactions.
Microtransactions.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was what I was trying to find. So they can give
Yeah.
you some stuff to play for free,
Oh, I fully believe that's what's going to happen,
and they,
100%. And I
yeah,
think that's why they're cracking down on the licensing stuff,
hmm
so that people can't go, okay, well here I'm going to give you a set that you can use on theirs. And I
absolutely,
think that's why they're doing it.
yeah. So
I don't think that it's so much about like the writing or the books or anything like that. I think it's the visual stuff that they're worried about.
yeah, and that it. Let's be honest. If Wizards of the Coast, no, we'll say Hasbro. If D&D wanted to have a virtual tabletop, they would have bought one of the existing ones by now, and we'd all be playing on it as part of their D&D Beyond package. But they can't protect from us importing maps, importing skins, importing tokens, importing all of that shit into the software right now. So they're not going to buy that. That's why they're building it proprietary in-house. That way I
Yeah.
can't, if I want my dude to have the Sword of Cost, I'm going to have to buy the Sword of Cost from Hasbro, man. At least to show it on the screen. So that's where I
I
think
do have to say that will be a cool thing if they do add that. I'm not even gonna lie. If I could be like, "Look, I can have my character actually wear the shit that I'm wearing," I'm not even gonna lie. I'll buy that. I will. I will.
ladies and
I'm the
gentlemen,
motherfucker that's gonna buy all this shit.
ladies and gentlemen, our Wizards of the Coast primary customer right here.
Yep,
And
it's
I'm not
me.
saying that to be critical at all. I understand the
No, 'cause I
marketing
do
behind.
the dice even, like, I buy all the dice when they come out because 'cause I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, shiny." Like,
So so
100%, that's me.
now again, how does that impact us? Not a fucking bit. Not a fucking bit. Use my language, but I'll say it again. Not an effing bit. Our group keeps going, and none of y'all. It doesn't affect any of you guys out there that are playing right now either. If you don't like what they're about to release, if you don't like the fact that we're about to get into an ugly subject here, that wizards can basically create spells at will, and if you give a wizard 20 days to travel, yeah. we're gonna get
Wizards are
to
stupid
we're gonna
broken
get to
now.
that in a
Wizards are
second.
stupid
I'm
broken.
gonna finish
I
this
can't
rant,
with
and then we're gonna
wizards.
go into the negatives. We're gonna go into the negatives about 5.5 here in a second, even though some of them are kind of borderline. Nothing that they do, nothing that they release, nothing is ever going to change anything that you want to do. So don't be threatened by the impending new system. This is my 8th edition change that's between Dungeons and Dragons, Twilight 2000, Cyberpunk 2020. And if you want me to throw a squad leader, ASL, Starfleet battles, and BattleTech in there, I'm probably on 15 or 20 edition changes in the games that I play. Don't panic. It's going to be okay, man. You take what you like, you play with what you want, and you move on. It's, at the end of it, the farther you get down the line, that's just more content that you can take and adapt from the old days. These guys are one of my most entertaining campaigns is Greyhawk. That rule was published in 78. We're playing a derivative of a module that was published in 86. And you can't tell the difference between that and 5th edition, can you?
Oh, absolutely not.
You
No,
know,
not
it's
absolutely
all
not.
content, man. So, yeah, just
And
relax.
Greyhawk,
There
I'm
will
I'm
be.
gonna
Go ahead.
the whole Greyhawk thing. They really need to re-release Greyhawk stuff. The map is way bigger. There's a lot more going on in Greyhawk than there is. Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying.
Well, no,
100%. They need
I
they
disagree.
need
I agree and disagree. If they went and put the rest of the forgotten, unapproachable East and the shining South that was part of 2E Forgotten Realms, that quadruples the size that you have to play with. Sword
yeah,
Coast people, I'm not going to say Forgotten Realms
fair enough.
people. Sword Coast people, y'all are getting screwed. You need to go bang on Hasbro's door and say, give me the Dale lands back. I want the Bloodstone Pass saga going on. What's going on between fucking Thay and Cormier over there? I mean, there's so much cool shit out there that they're just no. But yeah, plus side is there's this cool thing called RPG Drive Through DM's Guild or your pirate side of your choice that you can just type in 1E Forgotten Realms, buy your stuff. I encourage you to buy, and you have the content unfiltered by 5th edition people to do with what you want. Way to go.
Yeah,
The old editions never die.
yeah, that's true. And honestly, I think that depending on what monsters look like, depending on what the DM's guide looks like for this, I might try to run it, but use 5th edition monsters and their stats and stuff. Just be
Well,
like, look, let's deal with it.
there's
I'm gonna
there's
throw 120 goblins at you by 3rd level because you can decimate 6 of them in one turn.
right.
But
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Start turning D&D into Diablo, right? We got pretty close the other night in the graveyard, but So we're kind of flittering back and forth. The big debacle, the thing that probably got my blood pressure up and had a little acid dump, and Josh and I were screaming and not at each other but wailing and gnashing teeth together. How absolutely buff your primary casting classes are going to be, to the point where it's like you can get kind of like if you're an MMO player right now and you're playing World of Warcraft and you show up to tank in a Fury Warrior spec, how everyone's going to laugh at you. When you start playing D&D 1 and you roll up with a fighter and everyone's playing wizards, they all going to laugh at you there. It's that much of a power shift. It's that
yeah,
ridiculous. Unless you're playing with another bunch of other melee guys, if you're playing the pickup games that I see coming, you're just gonna get laughed at. Dude, re-roll. What the hell, man? We're not gonna be able to finish this. You need to go get a wizard. I mean, expect that kind of shit in the new D&D. Just
yeah, no, 100%.
you know. So,
Fine.
are you?
Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'm looking for it.
One right now.
I'm sorry.
I got it. Yeah, I was just trying to find it in the thing real quick.
Go ahead,
What I
bro.
forgot. No, because but I 'cause I was control Fing and forgetting that the fact that the word wizard is at the bottom of every page, and I'm like, ah.
Dun, 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 dun.
There's 124 wizards.
That's funny as hell.
Um,
So we were looking at. Do we want to start with sorcerer, warlock, or wizard?
Warlocks aren't getting much. Nothing's really changing for warlock. There's they get like a few good things out of it, but there's warlocks are mostly staying the same.
Well, because they're
Warlocks are
already broken
already.
as
I
shit.
was gonna say they're already broken, so like they can't really do much to like. I think they've changed how Eldritch Blast works now. So technically, you can if you have multi attacks, you can get
Six
like
of them.
6 of them in one turn
Yeah.
now. But like other than that, like not much difference. I mean, and if you're playing a warlock that isn't a primary Eldritch Blast character, it's not going to change anything for you.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorcerers, kind of like wizard heavy. You're gonna whatever you wanted to do as a wizard, you're gonna be able to do a little bit harder as a sorcerer. Except, I think the one thing that the wizards, I like the thinking behind it. I absolutely despise the application of it. There's a new spell coming out called, what is it? Research? Modify spell? Modify spell.
Um. Yes. Hold on. Let me look for it real quick.
I'm looking for modify spell, 4th level transmutation spell, ritual wizard, casting time 1 minute. So it's just you can cast it without a slot if you do it as a ritual. FYI.
Yeah. 100%. I think it's like an hour or something like that, or an hour per level of spell that you're
Yeah,
doing, something like that.
yeah, but it's not something that you're ever going to expect for a combat roleplay or otherwise situation. It's an acknowledgement of downtime, I think, but it's the absolute absolute worst way that they could have done it. Basically, your wizard can now use modify spell to modify the following aspects of any spell that they currently know. They can modify components, removing one of the spell's components, whether it's verbal, somatic, or material. You cannot remove the material for something that consumes it. So, like a diamond, if the diamond's part of the spell, bad example. A bit of sulfur for fireball, things like that
Yeah.
that are consumed. Mainly the cost, the gold value consumption of the components does not get affected. Concentration. If the spell requires concentration, damage can't break your concentration of the spell. So basically, you no longer have to concentrate, other than saying you're concentrating. Damage type. If the spell has a damage type, replace it with one of the following types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, necrotic, poison, or thunder. If the spell has multiple damage types, you can change only one of them. Range. If the spell has a range of at least 5 feet and does not have a range of self, increase its range by a number of feet equal to 30 times your wizard level. If the spell lacks the ritual tag and has a casting time of at least 10 minutes, give it the ritual tag. You can modify a spell to become a ritual spell instantly.
I'm gonna cast Fireball as a ritual.
If the spell affects one or more creatures and doesn't have a range of self, it now only affects only your allies or enemies. So you can start doing spell sculpting, as it were, with your modification. So
Yeah.
what does that mean? If I am a divination wizard, which is the dead opposite of an evocation, that's why I'm using them. Evocation wizards people love using because you get a lot of damage out of your spells. The saves don't matter as much, and more importantly, you can drop a fireball in a 20 by 20 room and not hurt your friends. Once you get modify spell, any wizard with modify spell can now drop their fireball in a room without hurting their friends. And then they can turn that fireball into an acid ball for the next time that still doesn't hurt their friends. And they can take their fireball, and if they're a level 10 wizard, they can throw it 300 feet away. On the next,
Yeah.
there is nothing on this spell that affects how many times you can modify the same bleeping spell to start with. So I'm going to take a breath here, and you can go on your part.
Okay. And then here's the crazy part about that is that after you have modified this spell, you can then create this spell. So if you make Ice Fireball, for example. You just change the damage type. You can now create that as a spell that you have as a wizard, like that you just permanently have. And the worst part is, I believe you can even change those. Like if you want to cast that and then modify it,
Yes.
you can technically stack them, which is
So
horrible. Horrible.
I did misrepresent. When you're using modify spell, you're able to do one of those things on a spell that you have memorized and then cast it that way. What Josh is referring to is what, permanency? No, scribe spell. Nope.
Yes,
Nope. No.
scribe
No. No.
spell.
No. 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 No.
Create spell is the one what it says is you meditate for 1 hour on the spell you just altered with modify spell. If you succeed, you must start casting scribe spell within the next 10 minutes and add the altered spell to your spell book. Once the spell is in your spell book, it becomes one of your known spells. It gains the wizard source tag rather than the arcane tag, and it gains a name of your choice. So you just make named spells now. And
why can't I have Atasha's hideous laughter? Go ahead. Bob's hideous laughter.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, is that like.
So the modify leads into create leads into scribe. Go ahead.
Okay, to be fair, you cannot stack them. Okay, you cannot stack them.
What do you mean you cannot stack them?
So once you put it into the book, it becomes it changes the type of spell.
Oh,
so it's no
it goes
longer
to
an
wizard
arcane spell. Yes. So you can't stack them, but still you can make an infinite amount of spells. Like if you're traveling for like 20 days, I've made 20 new spells in my spell book. So fuck it. I have a spell. I have a fireball of every damage type now.
Yeah, so
that's a force fireball.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna cast it. No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna cast this one as a ritual, just this normal fireball.
So I mean, is that
this one I'm gonna be able to cast without moving my hands?
Now let's be honest. A sorcerer can already do that using their sorcery points. They can alter damage type. They can alter range. They can alter magnitudes, things like that. But it's one-offs. I'm gonna cast fireball. I'm gonna use my sorcery point to do ABC. I'm gonna twin it. Whatever they're gonna do. So this is basically letting wizards copy what sorcerers can do without having to use sorcery spells, instead using time. And when a D&D campaign runs the way it does, a wizard can have an potentially infinite amount of time depending on how you run your campaign. If they're on the boat for 6 days, you better be prepared for your wizard to have 6 new spells when they land. You know?
Yeah.
If you took a 3-month downtime between this part of the campaign and the next part of the campaign, yeah, you know, Crazy Bob the magician gonna have 92 spells named after his ass, y'all. So
100%.
So
I know I would.
So this is what's interesting to me is who's gonna track all that? Who's gonna make sure it's balanced? Who's gonna include all that? That will not function in a digital environment.
No.
No.
No,
I mean, you can you can homebrew spells right now and pull them in if you know how to do them. Let me rephrase that. Unless you're willing to do a lot of macro work, that's not going to work in the digital environment of D&D Beyond. I could program a spell to turn into ice fireball from fireball into ice damage and do all of that. It's knowing how to type the macros. It's fucking brackets.
I mean, like,
but
you were saying virtually, for instance, though. Like, you're not gonna be able to do that in the virtual tabletop.
You know,
there's no way they're gonna be able to generate all of that. Not at first, at least.
Well,
maybe over time they've been like, "Fuck, okay. Well, I guess there's 1,000 new spells that we have to figure out with."
Well, no, I mean the parameters are there. I cast ice ball, so all it needs to do is key on the word ice for its damage type. Now, is it going to appear as a white circle instead of an orange circle or a green circle?
Right. That's what
I'm saying. You're willing to spend $1.99.
Probably.
So that's going to be some of the monetization of it. But those are the kind of things that I think, Josh was a little bit earlier, and I kind of cut him off on that.
You also forgot this as a thing, is that as a wizard, now you can use an action to swap a spell for a spell slot. So there's also a thing. So your infinite book of spells that you have just made up, you can also just swap.
Yep. If you're willing to use it. Is it an action, right? It's using an action?
Yeah. I believe you also burn a spell slot in order to do it. I think it's memorize spell or something like that. Let me
look at it. Memorize spell, yes. You can choose one spell from your spell book that you don't have prepared. and you choose another spell that you do have prepared. The unprepared spell replaces the prepared spell on your list of prepared spells. This replacement lasts until you cast Memorize again or finish a longer rest. When using a spell slot of 4th or higher to cast this spell, you can replace an additional prepared spell. So it's a 3rd level slot. So you're giving up a fireball to switch something. That's just the easiest thing to use. Everyone knows a fireball. Everyone knows a 3rd level slot. The magnitude of the spell it's not cheap. It's not like you're going, oh, instead of casting sleep this turn, I guess I'll turn my wish into disintegration. So it is the limit of, but it is a good point. Your wizards now, whereas a divination class, cleric or paladin, has access to the whole catalog of spells, but they have to prepare them at the start of the day. Your wizard can change preparation mid-combat, mid-whenever, if they have the slots for it. So. And, to use our buddy the Div Wizard, combined with their divination power plus arcane recovery, that's going to be for free most of the time anyway. Right. So yeah, it's some stuff that's definitely going to juice up the firepower and
I'm saying, like, compared to casters, like the marshals are getting nothing. Like, you're getting some damage upgrades for weapons. You're getting a few cool like abilities that you can use, but casters are getting wild things.
well,
Wild things.
oh yeah, I hear you. I mean, the changes that they're making for the martial classes are nowhere near as potentially game breaking or as the caster classes. Barbarians, they now get to, they don't their rage is easier to maintain. I'm sorry.
Yeah, their rage is better. I was about to say, yeah, their rage is better.
How it used to be when the DM, you'd use your rage and you'd get ready to fight, and the DM would move everyone away from you, and you use your rage because the DM's being an asshole, stuff like that. You can use your bonus action to maintain your rage now, so
And they've actually given them abilities that they can use rage outside of combat for stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like you can, I think like one of them is like a strength bonus thing where you can like get just extra strength for a check if you want to. If you're enraged.
Well, I mean, and that starts playing back into this is gonna sound like a backhanded comment for Wizards, but it's almost like they realize that there's a large section of the game that's missing codification, i.e. downtime, i.e. roleplay, travel encounters, things like that most inexperienced DMs and groups don't have a structure to exercise them, so they handwave them, they ignore them. Now they're giving you stuff to use for downtime. Now they're giving you opportunities to use that strength feat to help the role-play encounter, do the logging, whatever. I know that's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying. So, we after playing a little while, everyone will learn how to do that. But there's no out-of-the-box format to help a dungeon master or a group understand when to use these abilities within the context of a non-combat situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, so the actual ability, as well as what I was talking about, though, is it allows you to use your strength as the check instead of like you can. So like if you have to make acrobatics, intimidation, perception, stealth, or survival, you can use strength instead. So like somebody who's a barbarian that has horrible like dexterity, like, hey, I can now use my strength for my stealth.
How you gonna strength your way through a fucking bush, dude?
I hold all of my muscles solid so nobody can hear them. I have no idea. But it's...
Come on, man.
You scare your feet into being quiet. I don't know.
You scare the twigs away from you so you don't scrape on your weapons?
Yeah, no clue. But yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, though. But and that's
that's awesome.
And that's a good thing for them to have, and it's an out of combat thing that makes rage useful.
Yeah.
So it's a bonus action thing you can do. That's cool.
So I mean, there are the administration, the application, the math behind a lot of this shit is just bad, which happens during testing. Some of it hopefully will get corrected and get better, but some of it is just so game breaking that I don't think they have taken the time to look at sustainability, to look at long-term play. And that's why I think they're doubling down on the instant gratification gameplay. The DMs are going to do what they're going to do. The play groups that are playing D&D right now, as has been proven for 45 fucking years, are still going to play the D&D edition that they like. There's nothing that Wizards can do to change that. So
Yeah.
let's market at the next group. And, you're going to feel left behind. Welcome to being a Beck Me 1E, 2E kid. Welcome to being a 3.5 kid. Welcome to the poor people that still enjoy fourth and are afraid to admit it because everyone goes, ah!
Yeah.
How dare you? But I like it. It was fun. It made sense. But it was bad D&D. No, okay, but there's still those people that are there, man. And there's still
Yeah.
people that run fourth edition and have a great time of it. So Wizards aren't changing
I don't
them.
know any personally, but
Well, I mean, I'm assuming. No. If there's people that play Beck Me, there's people that play 4E. Straight up. There's got to
oh yeah,
be.
absolutely, absolutely.
And all the shit I just talked, 4E's got good content. The mechanics weren't great. The way the character abilities and the daily, the
Combat was
per
really the only
combat,
issue.
yeah. What, but
Yeah, combat was really the only issue. That
but
was a combat simulator within D&D. That's all that was. It was
well,
awful.
we're about to get back into it
Or
pretty
yeah.
soon. I'm kidding. But the content was
But
great
no,
for fourth. Go ahead.
but no, I completely agree with you. I really think that that's what they're trying to push towards now is lower level stuff because that's what they've already been doing. There's no current campaigns that play to 20th level. They have no clue how anything works at higher levels. Like that's why like wizards are so drastically different. Okay, so like wizards at 20th level can like memorize 2 spells that they can cast at will, while like rogues can be completely invisible at will and can never roll below a 20 on stealth. You know, like like
Oh
you
no,
know.
I hear you. I hear
Like,
you.
so like they're completely unbalanced. Like currently, like 20 like capstones are completely unbalanced, and I think that's actually why they're going to do boons now,
Yeah.
is so that you can pick how you level up. But I still think that they're going to have issues with like higher level play with the way that spells and abilities are going to work that they just have not really
Well,
tested.
when we first started playing, I was like, no, we're not using feats. I'm saving feats for post 20 play. They're so game changing that if you get feats at 4 and 8 and 16, I mean, it's OP. I want those to be the defining points of hitting 20. Before I understood the power curve of 5th edition, before I DM'd a significant amount of it and realized, we're not going to make it to 20, number one. Number two, players want their feats. They want their damn feats. So it's part of enjoying the game, part of their joy to make a character that has 2 feats at level 1. Fuck it. Go ahead. I'm not going to fight with you about it. It's, you get it now, you're not going to get it later. Okay. So there's always going to be a power curve to wrestle with. It's going to be way more pronounced in 5th edition, in 5.5. There's no doubt about it. So it's just where do you sit on it as a play group? Where do you sit on it as a dungeon master is going to determine how into it you are. The I'm already running, wailing and screaming and going, run away, run away. I've already established in to my survey may change. We're going to play 5th edition, and we may eventually steal some stuff out of 5.5.
Yeah,
But
it was fair. Wizards Wizards are going to have to be banned at like basically every table though. Like they really are. Like unless it's a camp, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're right. Maybe they are playing towards the instant gratification. Go in, do combat real fast, get out. Nobody thinks about downtime, so nobody's doing anything with these spells like they should be. Maybe at best they go, oh yeah, that's a thing I can do, and like take it in one day while they're at a bar or something.
yeah.
But people aren't thinking like, oh, we've got to travel 6 days. I can do 6 spell slots. People aren't thinking about that because they're Scooby Dooing the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I
Oh,
mean, let's look at our own brief dalliance at putting a crafting system in when you guys were kicking around the idea if we should be able to do herbalism and alchemy, and I said, okay, give me a system that makes sense with what we're doing, and we'll take a look at it, and that went nowhere. And that's a fair thing. The DM's guide just gives you the bare minimum framework, just enough to make it ridiculously unbalanced. Well, if you can make that many freaking healing potions as you go, that kind of the way I've always said it is, if healing is that cheap in your world, why is anyone fucking dying?
yeah.
Why does every family not have a stash? Because we've already established, according to 5th edition, that Flarg or whoever his broke ass is that runs the general store in Phandalin has at least 1,000 gold in his till to buy all the shit from the people at the start of the adventure. Potions are only costing 50. Why ain't brother got 10 potions for his family over the course of all of his life? Why is anyone dying? You
Yeah.
know, if
This
it's not supposed to be that easy. So
this is
when you
also
start put,
my exact
go ahead.
this is also my exact argument for, against using XP for level, because it doesn't make any sense like in a world, because it's like why isn't everybody like every farmer that kills a cow, why are they not level 20 by the time they die, you know? Like even by just chip damage over time, like why aren't wizards going out and fighting boars in order to get levels, like instead of learning like spells, you
Amen,
know?
dude. You're 100% right. If you were if you won't go to war and you got the hit, you didn't even have to kill. According to the XP combat, all you had to do was participate in the encounter, and you get a division of that
Yeah.
combat. So if your
Yeah.
1,000 dudes went and killed another 1,000 dudes, and only 100 of your 1,000 survived, your ass should be like level 8 right now, right after that
Yeah.
first fight.
Listen,
That
that's also a thing. Like every soldier after a long war that survived would be
buff,
ridiculous.
dude. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
no, that's a really good point. You know, and yeah, so it's just little things like that for continuity. But that leads back to, I mean, that's kind of it's an argument for its own. That's a fun one. We should talk about that progression for campaigns another time.
Okay.
Fast, slow, in between. I'm a super slow progressor. That's I raise my hands guilty. Super slow. Don't care.
I've
Um,
slowed down a lot in my mind, because like at first I was super fast about it. Like every two
third.
or three games, like you get a level. Yeah, that gets bad real fast.
Yeah, and my current group is like, gee, are we ever going to see level 8? It's like, well, it took y'all 5 damn sessions to catch a possum, 2 sessions to take the wagon out of a trench, and another session at the bar. What did y'all do to get level 8? Should I give you a late 8th level because you rescued your possum? Hell no, go get to work, fool.
We've been playing that campaign over a year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like I said, I raise my hands fully guilty. I'm a slow progression guy. But,
Which I'm fine with.
yeah, it's for the theme. But 5th edition or 5.5, I don't think real progression is going to be a thing for your average player. Um,
Yeah, I don't either.
and I think I'm gonna go on record as saying that the vast majority of people that are running campaigns right now uh, are not going to be touching 5.5 the first year or two. So it may end up being a completely different system by the time I take a look at it on the retail shelf, because no one's buying it, no one's touching it. What do we do? Don't panic, because you do this every time you change editions. Number one.
But I mean, I'm probably gonna buy them, so at least we have the stuff set up for if we ever do decide to go play it. Plus, I'm gonna want to be mad about it too, because that's just who I am. Read all of them like, oh,
All
can you
right,
believe they've
dude.
done this?
I know, right? It's right here. Hold on, let me bring up my digital link so I can show the crowd. I know,
Oh shit.
dude. So, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna feel like a validated critic if I actually do invest in the product and say, "Ha, this is what I warned you about." But it's not a system that's designed for sustainability. Josh hit on that a little bit earlier in our stream. I don't think any part of 5th edition is designed for long-term sustainability out of the box. That's all put on us. But I mean, let me rewind one. Temple of Elemental Evil. T1 through 4, Village of Hamlet into the Temple of Elemental Evil, a seminal classic. It's been turned into video games. Every time a new D&D format in a game comes up, someone remakes it. It's just one of those things. It is the absolute worst written dungeon in the climax in the history of history. Okay? So is that because I pose it, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google up a view of it. If you do know, you're high fiving me right now. Um, Village of Hamlet, every building, every person named, everything nice and detailed, lots of flavor box text to help you describe everything, motives, everything given you for there. You go to the in-house and you have a cool thing. Go to Village of Nulb, nothing. This is where you're gonna be based now. But here's 5 little things that you can throw at your players. Same thing, you get to the temple. First level, well mapped, well versed. Second level, kind of okay. Third level, 80 locations, you can figure it out. Fourth level, fucking random encounter list and a whole maze full of shit. Elemental nodes, the culmination of these dungeons are each a half page long, given to you as the DM to work with. So I submit, and this was written by Gygax, okay? The old one. Was he lazy as shit? Was he under a time crunch? Or is it the fact that it's almost impossible to balance what a high level group is going to do, so why bother trying to write it down? Or is it all three?
I've always argued that by the time players are level 20, they're basically demigods. Like they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stuff that you can do and throw at people, the amount of health that you have, the amount of items that you have, like
Yeah.
you're basically demigods at level 20. So like what can you do? That's why if I do level 20 campaigns, I'm like, we're doing a funhouse dungeon. We're not fighting anything.
Yeah.
You're gonna like it's
Well,
point.
you'll hear the terms Beck me, and they had it right. I honestly think they did a really good job of it. You had beginners, Keep on the Borderlands, Into the Unknown, Caldwell Castle. Then you had expert, Isle of Dread, Castle Amber, Desert Nobats. Then you had companion, which the companion series, Saber River, all of that. Beginner is beginner. We all know what that is. Kill goblins, kill the goblins. Yes, expert took you out of the caves into the world. Map this island, explore this thing, escort this caravan. And then companion level was, I want to say, level 10 to 15, and that was you're now part of the world. You're holding an office. You're a sheriff. You're a baron. You're a something. So the Beck Me system actually built your characters to fit within a world. It wasn't just I'm a level 20 hero. I ain't got no house. What do you mean? And what'd you do? Oh, I don't know. I got sick of carrying the 17,243,000 platinum that I got on my lap. I don't know. You know, that's where we are in 5th edition. There's nothing for a dungeon master to do to help build that. Companion puts you in as part of the world. Master made you the head of your monastic order, or the high templar of your temple, or the lead of a wizard's tower. And then I stood for immortal. At that level, you're attaining godhood, and then your characters are done. That was the end. So the Beck Me system was structured in an ever expanding source. They don't do that anymore, man. You know?
Maybe that's where we're having the issue with it, is because like that's the kind of world that I want to play in. Though I want to play in a world where it's alive and you do things and you have downtime and you have the chance to interact with the world and be part of it. And I don't think the system lends to that. I don't think it lends to RP at all, really, honestly. But I mean, RP can exist in any system again,
Yeah.
but like I don't think that it's planned around doing anything long term at all. Like I'm really, that's what I'm saying. I'm very interested in seeing what the modules are going to
Oops,
look like
sorry.
for this new edition. Like what
I think we're going to see
like
a
like
lot of. Go ahead, please.
like am I going to get a 20-page module where players go from 1 to 5? Like what are these modules going to look like? That's what I'm very curious about.
I'm betting dollars to donuts. It's going to continue along in the anthologies, the Candlekeep Mysteries, the Golden Vault, because those have been, for the most part, everyone can find something that they like in there. You buy the Golden Vault, you buy the Candlekeep Mysteries, Tales from the Yawning Portal. There's 7 dungeons in there, and everyone can find 1 or 2 that they like in there, even if they hate the other 5. So, shelf of campaign books, you either love the whole campaign or you hate the whole campaign. Or you're experienced enough to tear them apart and make them your own. Those people Wizards doesn't care about. They don't care. Wizards does not care about me. And I don't take that personally. They know that there's a level of players and play groups that are like, it's content, we're going to chew it up, we're going to spit it out how we want to use it, and it's going to be ours. They're not going to cater to us. They're catering to the casual crowd, in which case the anthologies make a lot more sense. You're back down into, like you said, 20 pages to go through a farmhouse into their cellar, down a cave to come up in a cavern with a spring in it to kill the monster, to climb out the chimney and go, yay! Which is the old modules. Everything old is new again.
Fair. Fair. All fads come back.
Well, they work. You don't, if when you learn how to do it, you don't have to have a whole backstory. You already have your world going on. Either A, you're just playing to play, you're playing one-offs, you're playing one-shots, you're playing short adventures. World building, plot, storyline, engagement doesn't matter. You're there to roll dice, have some fun, kick some ass, take names. Virtual tabletop takes care of all of that. B, people like us who invest in the campaigns. Wizards can't satisfy me anyway. So here's a pile of content for you to turn into yours. So yeah, there's nothing in 5.5 for people like me. I don't think there's going to be anything in 5.5 for most of your long-term players, and that's not in a bad way. I meant more in regards to a product cycle, in regards to stuff that you're really going to want to line up and buy and feel like you need to have. That's not going to be there, and I'm okay. I'm kind of okay with that. So is my budget.
Yeah, I really do think that a lot of the books are going to wind up being stuff like here's new classes, here's new races, is what a lot of the books are going to be coming out.
Mhm.
And then like what yeah, honestly I hadn't considered the like anthology books like what you're saying but that's probably exactly what they're going to do. Or stuff like Strixhaven where it's just bare outline,
A
do
setting,
something.
setting. Yeah, have fun
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. I think that's all they're going to do. Yeah. I think yeah.
But
I don't know.
well, again, this is kind of where the rubber hits the road, and you got to be honest with yourself as a dungeon master, and you be with yourself honest with yourself as a player. If Hasbro shut down right now and said we're never going to make another Dungeons and Dragons product, are you going to keep playing D&D?
I mean, yeah.
That's all that matters, dude. We are not the target market anymore. They have to find the next thing that's going to buy their stuff. They know that I've got a library of shit, you've got a library of shit. Everyone, you got an imagination, a set of dice and a basic set of rules, you're playing D&D. You don't have to
Yeah.
spend a penny on it. They deep down they know this, so they're trying to change things to capture the market that doesn't realize that, and capture the market that likes the cool stuff, likes the toys, likes the oh, what weapon set are they releasing next? Oh, that's sweet. I'm gonna buy that. What and that's business. That's okay. Because at the end of the day, sitting on the tail end of it, I'm picking up the discarded content and going, yeah, that was shit back then. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So
And that's probably going to be the thing that winds up making me continue to buy the books is to go, oh, that's cool. Let me use that.
yeah, yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I don't care about 75, 80, 90% of this book, but I like this bit.
Yeah. So the question becomes then is I don't want to say the question, but a question that always pops up that I see a lot of people asking on forums and stuff is when a new book, when Tasha's comes out, or when Mordenkainen and Xanathars, whatever, do I have to have that to play? That's up to you and your play group, man. You know.
I think you do.
Right now, it's not a big deal because typically your DM's going to have most everything that they're going to be playing with anyway. Um, in the next thing, if you want that class, you'll probably be able to push a little button for $1.99. You'll get that class to be able to play with it without having to buy the whole book. So
I'm honestly surprised they haven't done that already.
no, they already do on D&D Beyond. You can buy a
Oh,
la
do they?
carte. You can buy a subclass a la carte.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've just always bought the books that they were in if I
Yeah.
wanted
Well, it's
something.
not. It doesn't like give you a little snippet of the what's it called? The description of it, but like the class abilities, all that will transfer over to your sheet. You'll actually be able to use the D&D Beyond for your sheet if you buy the subclass directly from them. You can buy shit a la carte. You can buy monsters a la carte, straight up, dude.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know that. I
yeah,
like I said, I buy if there's something I've wanted, I've just gone, what book's this in, and I've just bought the book.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and honestly, in hindsight, I was about to say I kind of regret buying the Eberron books because they're both the same fucking book.
Oh,
Sword
they are 100%.
Sword Coast Adventures Guide is a waste of money. It's an absolute waste of money because it doesn't get Storm King's Thunder instead. You're going to get a much better overview of the geography of Sword Coast through Storm King's Thunder than you will out of Sword Coast Adventure Guide. But again, there's classes and stuff that are given in there. If you don't know anything about the Harpers or any of those guys, that's the first exposure you'll have in there. But again, there's people say buying anything is a waste when you can make it up yourself.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, there's some shit that sucks about 5.5. Wizards powered caster classes are just getting so OP. It's not even fun. Or
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun for wizards. It's gonna be fun for
For
sorcerers if they.
players, it's great. For players, you're gonna have a lot of fun, especially just if you want to get in and do some cool shit. you know?
But yeah, it's just going to force, and that's what kind of led into my conspiracy brother rant earlier. It's hard to find DMs now. It's almost impossible to find good groups and good DMs. What I mean is not like a good DM is better than a bad DM, but the group, everything gets together as a whole, and it's just a wonderful thing. That's really rare. When you find one, when you have one, hold on to it, keep track of it. If you don't give up. You will find them. But finding a group is challenging right now. Mathematically speaking, it's what is it, 11 players to one DM right now? The last thing I looked at,
I was just trying to imagine running an 11-player game, which would be
Six is on the edges of enjoyable. In RP stuff and all that, it's fun. In combat, it does kind of wind down. And no matter what, even with 6 people at the end of the session, I always feel like I left someone out. That's just being honest. But yeah, so there's definitely more. So the switch over to 5.5, the virtual tabletop, the instant button pushing kills, to make sure that if you're level 6 and you're carrying a glaive, you'll be able to kill 3 things a turn, 3 things per round. Leads itself to faster encounters, faster adventures, shorter things, and ultimately not a need for story building, not a need for world building for a certain portion of the player base. And even if that's only 20%, those 20% are going to spend the $5.99 to get the hand of eye, the eye of Vecna to glow on their little character's face. Okay, so it's smart marketing. It's smart marketing. It's, as a hobbyist, it's, but you know what? That's okay. I got what I need from you. You know, it's okay. I don't need you either.
My only worry is how long are they going to support the 5e crowd? Because I know right now they're like, oh, we're going to continue to support 5e.
They will
but
support
for how long?
5e until their paid subscription numbers start dropping. Let me rephrase that. The moment they kill the support for it, they'll see the subscription numbers drop, and they'll either bring it back or someone else will pick up the slack.
Yeah.
If they say we're no longer supporting 5e, Roll20 is gonna fucking bank, dude.
Oh yeah, they will. They will 100%. Yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
So
It's true because you can already buy the books and stuff from them.
yeah, and it's fully
that's
legal.
true.
It's fully legal, fully integrated. So if they kill
Yeah.
5e support on D&D Beyond, they lost my subscriptions. I lose my library. Not really. I've got it all printed and saved. So fuck them. I just like having.
I've never thought about doing that. That's such a good idea. I've never thought about just printing them out.
They're
man,
they're ugly as shit. They print bad. They
paper.
print so. I'm telling you, they do not print well off of D&D Beyond site. But the ones that I don't have on the shelf, I've got. I think I've got 5 that I bought digitally that I didn't buy on hardbook. So if that happens, guess what? I used to use graph paper and index cards. I can do that again. It'll be okay. I have a virtual tabletop built into my my mapping software. I can build a spreadsheet in Google that does all of the roles for us. It's just fucking macros. Nothing changes for me and my play group. Nothing changes for the vast majority of play groups with a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of ingenuity. Boom, you replaced it. You saved yourself a couple $100 a year. You never pay Wizards another penny again, and you're still playing.
That's true.
You know?
And I guess that's always, the upside to anything new that comes out is it doesn't get rid of the old thing.
Yeah. People
It doesn't
think
erase it.
we I think as a consumer society, we kind of tend to rush to the next big thing, but there's always a flow that goes back to it. Hell, there's more people playing WoW Classic right now than are playing WoW Retail. There's more people paying a monthly sub to go. Well, here's the thing. Blizzard won't tell you that because when you're subscribing to Dragonflight, but you get free access to Classic. So they call all of it active players. There's more active players on Classic than there are on fucking Dragonflight right now. So what's old is new again. Just because there's been 9 expansions since that game came out, majority of people went back to the one that was fun for them. In 15 years, God willing, if he and I are still sitting here talking shit, bah, man, D&D 10 should be all right. You remember that debacle back in 5.5 when they give wizards that damn research spell? Yeah, they learned from that the last 8 editions, didn't they?
And I guess that's always the bright side of every edition that fails hard. They immediately are like, "Oh shit, hold on, wait, hold on." They forgot a new one.
Exactly.
That's
So,
fair.
you know,
We probably have 6 waiting just in case.
I mean, shit. I'm running module reviews on this YouTube. If you're catching us on this stream, hopefully you're catching us on Josh's channel as well. He should be premiering this video too. Either place. All of my reviews are classics, dude. First edition stuff, maybe a touch of second edition I did on the Vecna reviews, just so I could talk smack about Vecna from an educated point of view. It was so fun. But yeah, so just keep your eyes peeled. Let the emotions flow through, but take a second and pull open a couple tabs and read the stuff side by side. Some of it's not going to look bad. Some of it's going to look good. Some of it's going to look fucking worse. So there's no denying that, but that's the plus side about see, this is stuff we didn't have back when I was playing. or back in the day. 2E came out, it came. There wasn't no playtest. We didn't know
Yeah,
shit, dude.
yeah.
You're like,
They
the,
playtested it themselves. They invited a handful of people to come and try it out, and that was it.
if you did not subscribe to Dragon Magazine, you did not know second edition was out until you saw the second edition player handbook sitting on the fucking bookshelf in B. Dalton. You're like, when did they do a new edition? Why didn't they
Oh
talk to
shit!
me? You know?
Yeah,
So yeah, the fact to be able to sit here and review it as they're making it be part of the process full time, even though I know I'm looking at you wizards. You do not listen to DMs, otherwise you wouldn't be doing half of this shit. I said that in your poll. Every poll
okay.
that you've sent me, I've sent you that quote. This is that quote that's me. The one that says, it's obvious you have never played or ran a DM campaign since past level 12 in your system. I'm that guy. Okay, right here. Um,
And you and a lot of people are saying it. Like
yeah.
it's not just you. There are tons of people I see all the time that are like it's none of this is built for high level play, and everybody knows it. Like you can tell by their modules. Like, everybody knows it. That it's not built for high level play.
But this
There's
is
one module that goes to 20 currently, and everybody hates it. Like you know.
now the flip side of that is at the end of the day, they are a company, so it's marketing, dude. When they release something like this, 75% of the people, 80% of the people that ironically are players are going, man, that shit's cool. I can't wait to make a character with that. Oh my God, I can't wait to play with that. That's going to be awesome. 20% of us are like, oh, for the love of God, please stop. Do you understand what this is going to do to the system? There's no way I'm going to be able to run a camp. Yeah, we're like, no. But guess what? 80% is way more than 20%.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that they ignore in that percentage is the 20%, 80% of those are the DMs that are saying, oh my God, stop. The ones that are going to supposed to be running your games. You're
Yep.
ignoring the people that are responsible for getting the other 80% to the table. That's my issue. You know? So either you're ignoring our feedback or you have a plan to eliminate our position in the game. And if that's the case, fuck you. You know?
That's fair. I don't think they could ever fully get rid of
No,
DMs
no, they
regardless.
can't. They
Someone's
can't.
always going to want to run a game. And then no AI, I don't think will, at least not in my lifetime ever, will AI be good enough, I don't think, to run a game as well as an actual person.
But that little bit of a scree, that little bit of a rant, all drops back to the initial statement of if 5.5 releases tomorrow as is, nothing changes my game right now. I can say fuck you to
Yeah.
Wizards. They can say fuck you to DM Geezer. We all move on with our lives. They've got my money. They're not going to get any more of my money. I've got all the content and I'm playing and happy. It's okay, man. You know? It's fun to talk about. It's fun to but at the end of the day, you're going to take what you want out of it. You're going to take what works for your group and you're going to throw away the rest, kind of like what we're doing now. Like we're
Yeah.
talking right now about, we were talking earlier about Rangers.
I
There's
don't think anybody plays a fully rules as written game of D&D except for maybe like the people who like like what is it? Adventurers Guild maybe.
yeah.
Just rules as written, but that's it.
Well, I mean, there's
No
there's
no home game is rules as written.
there's content available right now for rules content for cross country travel, for outdoor survivally type of stuff, and it's hand waved by the majority of 5e players. You know, that's kind of what we were joking about earlier. Why Rangers are so useless? Well, because they're not put in positions to maximize their strength. So when they don't get to do that, it doesn't exist. And that's not because of the Ranger. That's not because of the lack of the mechanics. That's because we don't use them as players or as DMs. We are ignoring rules that exist right now because they're not convenient for us. That's not going to change when it becomes 5.5, y'all. You know?
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah, wizards are broken. Sorcerers still broken-ish, not as broken. Um, honestly, mathematically, mechanically, they I'd say this is obviously, as Josh has pointed out, we haven't had access to a lot of the monsters. We don't know how things are going to play out when you do your mock rolls, when you do your you know, number crunches to see.
if they're going to change any of this stuff, because like one of the big things was the instant success on D20 rolls, and that was something that they've dropped. So like they've listened to that at least. So maybe when we see monsters, maybe they can still crit. Maybe they do still have the things that like people wanted to keep on them.
Yeah,
Like things could change. Like I'm saying,
yeah.
it once we see the other side of it, it might wind up being more balanced than we're thinking, and it might not be that bad. But as of
Oh,
right
it's
now, it's looking scary.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. But yeah, we're getting 20% of the picture, 30% of the picture maybe at a time here as they release it in blocks. We don't really get the opportunity to play it out. That was a great thing. I mean, the auto D20. I was like, there ain't no way in hell that everything's automatically got a 5% chance to succeed no matter what, no matter where. That's just not even in a magical universe. What's the point of having magic if there's always a 5% chance of success? You know? Throw enough troops and then they'll eventually get lucky. Someone will roll a 20 and kill the king. We don't need to hire adventurers. So yeah, touche on that one. But
Yeah, maybe stuff will change and it won't be that bad. Maybe they are listening to people. Maybe that's why they have done these things. I mean, we'll see. We'll
well,
see. Right now, just from seeing the players portion of it and knowing how games currently run, it's not looking super amazing.
yeah, it's gonna be definitely gonna need a bunch of tuning. And I guess the sad thing is we should be playing it this time next year, huh?
I mean, and to be fair, like this that we're seeing right now isn't even the final product anyway. Once we actually get it, it's going to look different than this too. But
That doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be better.
that's fair. That's fair.
I mean,
It
let's
could be
be
worse.
honest. If they don't hire a punctuation editor, it's all going to be worse. Period.
That's true.
If they can't learn the difference between a comma period and a semicolon, then we're just going to continue on with that. Shit. That's what they need to do is just take 5 and call it 5.5 and apply proper punctuation to it, and you've got a whole new fucking edition right now. You know.
Yeah. Actually fix rules. Make it so that that when you die you don't become an object. So stuff like resurrection doesn't work on you because you're not a body, you're not a human, you're an object now. You can't cast that on objects.
Maybe this is like the
Fix some of that shit.
the Bethesda moment where they've been running on the Roll20 system for so long it's so broken that they can't fix it anymore, so they have to start a new engine for Starfield and make us wait 9 years for it.
Maybe.
But no, it still looks the same. It still looks bouncing my screen, still looks every bit as broke as normal, man. But that's yeah. Is it okay? It's okay. It's okay with what you're okay with. I guess that's the best way to put it is we can there's the two of,
barbarians.
I'm sorry.
If nothing else, we should take barbarians from it. Barbarians are way better in this.
Yeah.
I will say.
Well, I mean,
Rangers as well.
We've got 2 of us. We're in agreement on most of the stuff. But I promise you, there's a couple thousand other people that have put up YouTube videos in the last 2 weeks about the exact same shit, and they probably feel a little bit different about it. I think a lot of them are. I don't know, man. I don't want to get judgmental and start calling out videos because that's bullshit. But,
I honestly haven't even looked into what anybody said about it as far as like the rest of the community. I've not really looked into it.
It's still very
how favorable or unfavorable it is.
It's still very player-centric opinions out there. This is going to be great for you guys. This is going to be awesome. Oh, as a player, this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. As a player, this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. Not a whole lot of DMs out there that are willing to call shit because we lose 80% of the people that think it was cool. Don't come back to our streams anymore. So it's just as much as marketing for those of us that are streaming, those of us that are producing video content, editorial content. We're running the same risk alienating the 80% that love hearing how badass they're going to be here in 6 months when I say this game sucks. It's ruining the game. They're not going to come back to my channel because they're not hearing what they want. So that's also influencing the flip side of this. How much are you really objective? Are you really hearing? If you say this sucks, then you're a grognard. Go play 3E. Get out of my 5E. It was no different. It was no different than the OSL or OGL shit 6 months ago. There's no middle ground for it, which is dumb. D&D has always been about taking what you like and making it yours and throwing away the parts that you don't. Always been about it, man.
Yeah. It'll continue to be like that, but yeah. Just sometimes it's nice to get it out, though. The complaints that you have.
Hell yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, hopefully, in the middle of all of our ramblings and smack talkings, if you've been catching our stream, you're picking something up out of it. You're learning something both about the game, the future of the game, and the possibilities of not stressing over it. It is okay just to say, you know what, I really don't care because I still have my blue book from XP, and I'm having fun playing expert D&D, and I don't know why you guys had to go change 11 different editions to begin with. There's lots of those people out there. Find your niche. The most important thing is not your edition, is finding your group, finding your spot, finding your cluster of weirdos, and then realizing that you're not weird because we're all the same. You know? Find your tribe, get out there, put yourself out, have some fun. Be okay with saying no. You know, if you're concerned with genuinely concerned with the edition change, is it going to affect? Oh my God, I don't want to get into this group, and then they're going to start playing a new rule set before I get a chance to play. Ask that question. You know, see where they stand on it. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm willing to vet the most of the ongoing campaigns. We're going to be oblivious to 5.5 until a campaign actually finishes. I've got 4 of them that should finish. I think the first one should finish by 2026. So we'll worry about that one then. Maybe be working by then.
Avernus will probably finish by the end of this year, start of next year sometime.
On the rate you guys are going, I'm pretty sure Avernus will probably. Yeah, I think Avernus will be done by before Christmas.
Yeah.
Waterdeep could go really, really, really fast or really slow depending on as far as mission stuff goes. But
Yeah.
the campaign will run as long as you guys are having fun. Greyhawk has the potential to run for God bless it ever, just because the scope of what we're doing and the amount of ADD/encouraged distractions that we take place in.
Honestly, we should stream all of these for people to watch, even though we're like midway through things. We should really, so people can see this stuff.
I mean
Because
that.
all of these campaigns have different enjoyable things about them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point. We're gonna go ahead and finish up our stream. We're pushing 2 hours here, brother.
Absolutely.
Damn. But
Yeah, I know. I know.
no, that's okay. We're not like just dead air time. We've been having some good we've been going in circles, but I think it's been an
Yeah.
entertaining conversation. But yeah, we'll close on that. I mean, that's not a bad idea. Just because you're playing one way doesn't lock you into playing the same way over and over again. You know, Josh's, for example, I've got 4 campaigns that I DM. Greyhawk, Avernus, Waterdeep, and Sigil of Fate. All 4 of them are dramatically different in feel. All 4 of them are in different settings. All 4 of them are different, genuine different styles. You know,
Yeah.
A day in the life of Waterdeep is exactly that, dude. These fools are having fun trying to get matching plates and glass and plate sets while their windows keep getting broken out, and they get in a screaming match with their neighbor kids. You know, it's
So the Battle of the Bands.
the battle of the throw down on some bardic action right there. You know, Avernus is your typical breakneck pace, don't stop but just for a breath, go to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It's an epic, constant forward motion. We know the situation, we know the mission. It's just mission driven gameplay. Greyhawk is, man, it's like an old D&D game for me. It's like it used to be. Are y'all gonna head east this week? No? Okay, well, fine. Let's go back to town that you pissed them off in and have fun there. It's okay. Such a sandbox feel in that campaign because the players.
Real quick.
I'm sorry.
So let's go get arrested real quick and then throw a frog out the window and then like, um,
But I mean, and I think with that world, it works in that instance because we've spent a lot of time investing in the fact that this is a huge, breathing, living world, and they're just a tiny little part in it. And no matter what happens, they're going to be able to find something else to get into. If they end up getting distracted and screwing around, and someone else has got to step in to finish their mission, that's okay. There's still 100 other things to do out there. So it's the group kind of gets urgent when they need to, but enjoys each other, enjoys just playing a game and building moments. I think Greyhawk is definitely my most sandbox game.
100%.
And then Sigil is a challenge. This is when you are trying to build an alien, strange environment for a group, something absolutely that breaks the laws of physical logic and even sanity. That's what I'm struggling with Sigil, and I love the setting, love my players, love the group. I'm doing a bad job as a DM, so I mean, for shits and grins, you can tune into that one to see what it looks like when a DM is trying too hard to hammer stuff home. You know, I think that one has a lot of potential to really get cool, but you know, that's an example of the setting overbearing the story. The example of the city itself being too much of a character too early. So dude, I can be self-critical. I'm good with it.
I enjoy Sigil. Book is the one character I get to play that is completely passive. That I don't start anything. I don't get us into any kind of trouble.
Well, and here's the funny thing. Everyone that's playing in Sigil plays with each other in other campaigns, has a great rapport, has a great. So this is a situation of the environment, the setting of the campaign being really overwhelming and really unique, and also the blend of the players not really. When you have four people that are all kind of passive in their game design, four people that are kind of passive. I don't want to say pacifist, but they're not aggressive. They're wait and see, wait and see. Let's do more. Let's wait and see. And you don't want to get railroady with them. It's hard to get shit moving.
That's really the thing. I've been trying the last couple of campaigns to be like, hey, let's go do this thing.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking about. We'll talk about other stuff later. Yeah,
Yeah.
we won't get into all this
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 different campaigns, same DM, a lot of the same players, but such a dramatic difference in their styles based on the setting, based on how we're running it, and based on the interaction in the group. My players are each inhabiting a different style of character for the most part in each campaign as well. So,
100%.
Dude, that's not a bad idea. We need to figure out how, even if it's just crappy, no frame, ugly.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Here's our audio for the night. Enjoy it. Sorry, I'm not going to give you an overlay because I have to stop and dig with it.
Even if it's just like, here's our Discord where we're just recording the Discord, it's fine.
Yeah. So, but anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and close out Jim and Josh's 2-hour stream because it'll probably take me about 11 hours to download it and compress it to send it to you. You should be able to see this by 5:14, I think, by the time it's done processing.
Yeah, I'll be probably uploading it tomorrow. And
Yeah,
it'll be on the actual YouTube by
well,
Saturday.
number 2, we've actually got.
I might not even want to try to start it tomorrow. No, wait, no, because I'm not recording tomorrow. We're good.
No, yeah, we're not recording tomorrow. We're just having our bullshit. But yeah, I'm not going to post it tonight because. But Jim and Josh, we're going to close out our 5.5e rant here. I've got a pause button, and we can finish up our actual non-stream conversation afterwards. But if you've been, absolutely. Thank you for joining us through our chat so far. It's always fun to sit around. We'd love to hear comments from you. We'd love to see some stuff in the chat. Let us know what you think. If there's anything you want us to talk about and focus on, and at least try to be as focused as 2 squirrel chasing dogs can be.
Yeah, it's hard. We both have ADHD. It's a problem.
It's like you got to drag me out of that rabbit hole, brother. It's like, fuck no, we both dive in head first. What's down there? I'm coming. But so thank you for joining us. We're gonna try to do a better job of making sure we get consistent. But if not, it's okay. Life happens. Join us for the stream here. Join us for our chat in the future. If you're seeing this over on Josh's, you know what? I'm gonna do my exit, and I'm gonna let him do his exit for his channel. But yeah, DM.
I don't have an exit.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I haven't even thought about that.
I don't either. I just talk shit at the end that I'm supposed to talk, so people can like this. For example, DM Geezer Jim here. Thank you so much for joining us on this stream. If you want to support my work, I've got some mapping projects over on Etsy. Long-term supports can head over to Patreon. We'd love to have your support, whether it's just as a follower or even as a subscriber. The more support we have, the more of these kind of things you can do. If you want to watch me make maps in live or play some video games at night, catch me over on my Twitch channel. As always, Facebook, you can follow me, DM Geezer Jim. Same title for all 4 of those things. You can also find the stuff in the links on this YouTube video. Josh, your turn.
I am Josh. I go. My channel probably right now is going to be Grizzly Tinfin. Unfortunately, I can't get my Tinfin name for some reason. It keeps getting taken from everything. I don't know why. So Grizzly Tinfin's what we're going for. If you see the bear emoji with the peace sign, that's me. This is going to be me for Twitch as well. Grizzly_Tinfin. I am going to start streaming hopefully soon. I need to start doing my old school games, but yeah, I'm gonna start streaming that as well.
Oh yeah.
I'll get better at doing outros as soon as I know all of my information in my head. I wasn't expecting this.
It's all good, dude. We're all having fun, and so it's not a big deal. We'll also get some links posted over to this Facebook page, some cross referencing, some cross promotional opportunities for us. But hey, thank you so much for joining us. An hour and 53 minutes of us talking D&D shit, man. If you sat through it all, I'll give you a virtual hug and a in-screen high five. And we'll catch you guys for the next one. All right. Peace out, y'all.